Hey there, lovely humans. Erin here. Welcome back to the Impatient DIYer. Today I am bringing you 2 trash to treasure pieces that I put together for Easter and spring, and this video is part of the Using Trash to Create Treasure challenge that is hosted by MomDas at MomDas Life Handmade every month, and it is being co-hosted by Casey at Coffee with My Sunshine this month. And I am really excited to show you the 2 things that I created, and I hope that you guys like what I put together. Let's get straight into DIY number 1, guys. So the first one, we're going to be using this styrofoam square that I got with my laptop actually and decided to keep it. We're using 2 different colors of teal. One is from Craftsmart and one is from Apple Barrel. And then I'm also going to be using some washi tape. And I'm also using my square that I got from the Dollar Tree, just to make sure that my lines are even because I can't do straight lines. So we're going to be first putting the washi tape on there, and I wanted some thinner and wider stripes on this. So I'm going to be doing the darker color, the size of the washi tape, and then I decided to do the lighter color, the size of the actual square itself. So first thing I did was I just put the washi tape from top to bottom, and I didn't really want this to be even. That's why you'll see like the top is a little bit thinner. It's not actually the size of the square itself. I just didn't want it to be that perfect, I guess. There you'll see I did the washi tape on the sides. I am going to paint the sides as well. First thing I'm going to be doing is taking the lighter paint and some baby powder, and I'm going to be mixing those together. Now, this gives the paint like a little bit of a thicker consistency, a little bit more opaqueness, not quite chalk paint, but a little bit closer to chalk paint than just using regular acrylic paint. Also, it smells good. Like anything that smells like baby powder, I'm gonna paint with that. That's awesome. Just using a plastic fork to stir this. I've decided that using plastic silverware is my best bet for mixing paint. Now I'm using this little dabby paintbrush. It probably has a name. I don't know what it is. I'm not that professional. But I'm just using this dabby paintbrush to dab this on because I didn't want brush strokes on this because I feel like the styrofoam just has a really cool texture. And I also felt like I could get a little bit more paint on there, and I just thought it would look cool. So first I did all of my light teal paint with this, and I just did the top first, and then I did go back and do the sides with the washi tape still on there. The washi tape did not like to stay after I painted over it. I guess styrofoam is not washi tape friendly, but that's okay. So there's how it turned out. You can see I touched up a couple of places there. The washi tape took the paint right off of this styrofoam, so I decided to go back in for the darker color and just use a regular foam brush. Now, I'm about to make a terrible life choice right here, guys. I decided to use my little Dollar Tree paint pad and try to get some baby powder in there. Look at everywhere that it went, guys. Like, I'm a little sad. But that's fine. I just used a plastic knife to stir this up, and it was really nice because then I could use the flat edge to kind of scoop more of the baby powder into that tiny little space. But I didn't want a lot of this dark paint because I just had the thin stripes to do. And yeah, not the best life choice. Definitely use a different container. I like the straight edge of this foam brush though, because it really helped me get those straight lines that I want for these stripes. So that was a good life choice. Bad life choice on the paint container, good life choice on the foam brush. So I just went through and went along the lines, flipping it just so I could continue to use that sharp edge of the foam brush on each edge of the stripe. It's not perfect, but I really like how it turned out, honestly, so I'm not mad. Now I did dry this with my my heat gun a little bit so that I could put these metal letters from the Dollar Tree on there. Now I'm like, you can see I'm like hovering above it. It needed a little bit more dry time. So I did a quick dry again with the heat gun. And then I'm going to be taking my folk art chalk paint, and this is in white Adirondack. And then I'm going to be using another one of those dabby brushes. I still don't know what they're called. To just kind of dab this on here and take away the shine really. It doesn't make it completely white. I only did one coat and it's not perfect. But I really like that it just kind of took away the shine. It makes it a little brighter because I feel like with just the metal, it didn't pop off of the teals as much as I had wanted it to. So this was honestly super, super quick. And I think it just really adds the, I don't know, Easter, right? Like Easter is like super bright stuff. Like you gotta brighten everything up. I don't know. I just wanted it to be white. But yeah, I think this only took me a couple of minutes to do, so definitely not a difficult step. And I just kind of made sure not to touch them afterwards, and then the paint stayed. I don't like painting these metal things. Paint never stays. But this, I just was very careful. I used Eileen's tacky glue instead of hot glue because I wasn't sure how hot glue would react on the styrofoam, and I don't like hot glue and these metal letters. I just did the center of the letters. You're going to see here where I kind of like figure out like where I actually need the glue. So I really just did the center of the letters, not like the tops and the bottoms, and it stuck on really, really well. This is definitely the kind of glue where you don't want to touch it right away or try and move it right away. It's not an instant hold, but like I dropped it when I took a picture of it and it stayed. So definitely like Eileen's tacky glue for things like this. It's going to be my go-to for the future. And that is really all that I did for this one. I thought about putting something in the center, but I liked it just the way that it is, and I liked that I could switch out things in the center if I wanted to. So this is just it sitting on top of my desk, and I'm super, super happy with how this turned out. It's not perfect, but I like the texture that it has, and I feel like kind of almost looks, I don't know, cool. So on to DIY number 2. So this one, I am going to be taking the lid off of a plastic Folgers can, and wow, that coffee strong was smell. Or strong. That coffee set was strong, guys. I'm like thinking about it now, I'm still getting ugh. I do not like strong coffee. This is actually from my parents. But I'm using white Adirondack and a just regular paintbrush to paint this on. I think I did 2 coats total. A couple more in like various places, but 2 coats really, really covered this very well. There's a couple like nooks and crannies that I put like too much paint in on this, like where each of those like spiky things is around the edge, but everything kind of turned out very well, and it's going to be covered in the end, so I'm okay with it. But yeah, it didn't want to stick on the first try, so I did like heat gun it and do a second coat and everything like that. And then I'm using the rest of the teal paint that I used from my last DIY actually, because I had too much and I didn't want to waste it. And I ended up doing 2 coats of this as well. And this went on a lot easier. And I ended up, I painted it using brush strokes for the first coat. And then for the second coat, I actually kind of dabbed it on with the side of the foam brush so that you couldn't see those brush strokes, and it kind of had almost like the same kind of texture as my first project. And I really liked how that turned out in general. You see I'm getting all of my baby powder left over from all of the other tray spots and mixing that in because I just needed a little bit more paint. But yeah, here you can see I'm kind of dabbing this on, and I really liked how that looked as opposed to the brush strokes. I feel like it just, I don't know, it just looks cooler. I don't know, more texture, less like this is a DIY project, and more like it took some time. I thought about this, which I did. I promise I did. This was definitely one of those projects where it's like I just kind of started it and didn't quite know where I was going. So I really do like how it turned out for not knowing where it was going. And I did have to fill in those crevices and like some of the smaller parts with just like a regular paintbrush. That white in those crevices just would not dry. So I did have to do a couple more coats on the outside than like the main part of the lid. That was definitely a struggle. It didn't want to stick as much with the regular paintbrush. So I feel like I could have done a little bit more dabbing with the foam brush and then maybe the paint would have stuck a little bit better. Overall, I was able to get the coverage. I probably could have gotten the coverage quicker. So this is what it turned out. And I'm going to be using this welcome sign that I got at the Dollar Tree to finish this one off. I just grabbed some pliers so that I could take off the two hanging hooks on this. And these are just some pliers that my dad doesn't know that I have. And we'll eventually find out, but shh, he doesn't know yet. So it was really easy to get these off with the pliers, and I'll probably end up using these hooks or the welcome sign and then the chains on another project. But I love this flower, and I have seen people doing some amazing things with it. I really just wanted something bright. So all I'm going to be doing is getting my matte Mod Podge, taking away some of that shine, and then putting this right onto the lid. Now, I definitely need to work on my organizing because I couldn't for the life of me find my matte Mod Podge. I think it took me like a good 5 minutes, and it was right on my craft table. So if anyone wants to come organize my craft space for me, I would love you forever, because I obviously can't see the things in front of me anymore. But I really, really like the finish that this matte Mod Podge gave this flower. I did 2 coats total because I was hoping maybe it would take a little bit more of the shine away with the second coat. It didn't do anything. So if you really just wanted this to not be shiny, all you really need to do is 1 coat and it'll be awesome. You can't even tell that there's a coat of matte Mod Podge on it as well, which I think is really, really cool. I normally don't like using this stuff, but for this, I will definitely use it again, and I highly recommend it. So this is what it looks like with just the 1 coat, and then I just kind of stuck that right on there. Now it does have like a pop in the back, like a divot. So I used one of these small cubes, and then that still wasn't enough to attach. So I grabbed a jumbo popsicle stick, and you'll see here I'm going to cut up that popsicle stick and kind of put some of those pieces messily on top of that. I wasn't trying to be pretty doing this. I was just trying to kind of get a stand for this flower to be attached to this lid. Now, for some reason, so you'll see here that I do hot glue these on. So for some reason, when I tried to like hot glue this to the flower, it didn't stick. And I was very annoyed and confused. And so I ended up having to look at, I don't know why it's not sticking. Like that piece stuck. And then I lifted it up again and another piece wasn't sticking. And then they were all sticking to the flower and not to the block. So I just kind of decided to stop touching it at this point, and it dried perfectly. So this is what it looks like. I really like this. I think it is fun and bright, and I don't really think you can tell all that much that it was a lid from a coffee can, but it's just this bright spring pop of color. It's cloudy today, so I love having this around. That is that for those 2 little DIYs that I put together. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you guys at my next video. Bye for now.